Red Twilight at Dawning of Power, Chapter 3, The Von Richten Society. Tail had found her way to the surface, but something had gone wrong. Marks did not comfort her, nor did Light tea. Tail makes a choice. She runs. Tail finds she can live on the road so long as she is smart. She sticks to the back roads. She steals clothes and food. She finds a skateboard. Once on the surface, Tail runs east. She quickly finds herself facing the ocean, then turns to face south. Tail's never seen the ocean. She's never seen any of the outside world. Quickly, Tail has to turn to instinct to make decisions. Soon Tail will learn that the world is hostile, and a little fox like her that fails to watch her step will find herself underwater. Richard Blake is a younger man. He was born into the life of a hunter. He is lying in the road, bloodied and beaten, a gladius clutched to his fist. His tan overcoat is shredded. His jeans are torn and falling off his body. Richard pushes himself up to a kneeling stance. He spits out a mouthful of sand. One hand finds the side of his head as he groans. He looks side to side, trying to figure out where he is and how he got there. Richard yells out, looking for his brother and his lover. Chris? Sherry? There is no one around. Blake takes in his surroundings. It is midday. He is sitting on the side of the interstate. Tall wheat stalks are growing all around him. Blake calls out again, Chris. Cherry. Blake can remember just bits and pieces of yesterday. He and his brother were on a hunt. An old man with a cane. He had told the three of them a story about a monster breeding ground, hidden inside a hotel. Chris was gung-ho as always. Cherry tried to talk them out of hunting that day. In the hotel, the three of them found a statue of a godlike being. From there, Blake's memories seemed to get cluttered. He comes face to face with so many things he has never seen. Then he came face to face with a monster. It had white skin, violet eyes. The beast whispered a word. Zhuan. The monster proceeded to smack Blake around, seemingly just for fun. Chris came to Richard's aid. Blake lowers his head. He remembers, or thinks he remembers. Chris was stabbed by his own sword. Cherry had grabbed Richard. She dragged him out of the hotel. Cherry didn't follow him out. Blake stands up. He picks a direction and starts to walk. Where to? It makes no difference. Crippling depression takes root. Blake walks for hours. He has no destination, no place to go, no one to call. Hunters make few friends and never have family. It seems to be one of their defining characteristics. Blake digs around in his pockets, taking inventory of what he has on him. Billfold, $34 in cash. Revolver, 7 9mm rounds. Chris' sword. Blake whispers, Chris. Richard walks down a quiet road for miles before a lone car comes into sight. is a high-end imported car, black in color. 20 years ago, it would have been top of the line. Blake waves at the car. The windows are tinted. Blake places a hand on the hood as the car is pulled over. Blake thanks the driver as he rolls down the window. Only a crack. A posh voice interrupts Blake. Are you Christopher Blake? Blake shook his head. No, I'm Richard. Chris is my twin. Blake suddenly notices he has been asked such a strange question. A gun sticks out the window. Silver gun. Blue engravings on it. Blake is in a panic. Reaches for his revolver. He never gets a chance to take aim. Richard is shot once. He staggers a few steps. One of Blake's hands reaches up and feels where he was shot. He pulls a dart out of his chest and looks confused. 2 more shots are taken. Blake crumbles to the ground, overwhelmed by the poisoned darts. The doors of the car open. 3 people step out. A woman in a red 3-piece suit is the first out. She has wide-brimmed glasses. She has long blonde hair and glowing pink eyes. She holsters her gun. Where are the other 2? The brother and the succubus. You told me there were 3 of them. The second man out of the car is a bearded man with a skunk stripe in his hair. He is plump and has on thick black gloves. He has a green overcoat and a cane. He leans on the hood of the car. My first thought, they failed the entrance exam. The third man is barely human looking. He has a crown of thorns growing out of his head, and skin that looks like wood. His hands are long and stretched. The woman points at Blake. Mr. England, pick up that and throw it in the trunk. The man with the crown of thorns bows. As you wish, Mrs. von Richten. England follows orders. Van Richten looks to the last man. Mr. Dove, this had best pay out. I have already invested more money in this hunt than I would like to. We're gonna need boots on the ground. Kravix is coming back, Dove explains. Von Richten gets back in the car. You've been saying that for 40 years. Dove gets back to the car. I am right this time. The car phone rings. Dove picks up. He listens for a few seconds. Von Richten folds her hands across her face, waiting. Joe hangs up. Seisana was spotted again. Von Richten replies, I will contact Agent Malagard. She will handle this. Dove wiggles in his chair. He leans over the front seat, looking at England. Mr. England, get me to Miami. I want to see this. Tail walks along the beach on a hot Florida night. Tail is unaware she's being watched. In a car half block away, Dove sits. He picks up his radio. Kitsune, female, 800 plus years old. A second voice comes over the radio, a deep male voice. It isn't Seisana. I can see her. The fur pattern is wrong. Dove clicks the radio on. Agent Frog, Agent Womack, Agent Frog. Move into position. I want to bring her in. A third voice comes in. A gruff female voice. We have a group of 6 missionaries at our 6. Dove looks for clarification. Melagard? What is their position? Frog clicks the radio on. Did you just ask what the missionary position is? Melagard comes back on. I know these guys. Nightingale and Headsman are with them. Dove curses. The Jesuit. He waits for a moment as he thinks. Melagard, send the preachers back to church. Frogs, go grab that fox. Page taken from the Journal of Richard Blake. Her name is Wright von Richten. Mine, Richard Blake. Yesterday I was picked up by her men, the so-called Holy Order of the von Richten Watcher Society. Around here at Dick, we try to be punctual. She calls me in her thick British accent, but I don't even know the day, then alone the time. Richard. I respond. I like to be called Richard. She crosses her hands and hides her mouth as she lowers her head, slouching slightly onto her ancient throne of a chair. I prefer Dick. She is wearing a pair of glasses with wire frames and inverted lenses, as if to impair her vision more than improve it. But as far as Dick goes, I don't think she sees it often. Her face is lovely, but her posture belies her beauty, as does her clothing. She's wearing a business suit, crimson in color, with a bright ascot held in place by a brooch in the shape of the Iron Cross. Her hair is platinum, almost silver. If you don't mind, Mr. Blake, she says as she reaches along her chair for her martini glass. You are what we call an abbot. She takes a sip of the sweet liquor, and I don't particularly care for your kind. She tauntingly places her glass on the back of the table and strokes up the back of the cat statue that makes up the leg of her chair. The chair looks to be carved from red wood, finely crafted, with 2 cats laying on their stomachs, asins in the air, forming the legs. The back of the chair is a gargoyle. I can't make out the details due to the red light being cast through the window behind Miss von Richten. You're mistaken, I express. I'm a hunter, nothing more. You are a clairsentient with innate aura sight, just like your brother was. In fact, I bet you could even feel me, can't you? What? How would you know about my brother or me? That's not right. Or, instead, she is right, and that scares me. Did you know my brother? I feel compelled to ask. Come to think of it, von Richten doesn't feel right. She's emanating energy almost like that of the demons my brother and I hunt. She smiles, no doubt knowing the confusion I'm feeling. She understands perfectly the power she has over me. She might be sexy if she acted like a woman. There's a saying my predecessors liked. Maybe you can appreciate it. It has so many meanings. Sometimes you may see some of my people. Other times you may say all of them. But you cannot see all of them all of the time. She tugs on the sleeve of her overcoat, allowing me to see the tattoo on her wrist. It's shaped like the letter W, 3 rings around it. I hear you killed the monster that killed your brother. It was a demon. one like I've never seen before. We'd slain many before, but this one caught us off guard. My thoughts trail into nothing. She smirks almost evilly. Filthy, tainted mortals, foolish enough to fall beneath the kiss of the air-nest, infantile monsters. Those sad posers aren't worthy of being associated with true demons. I change my mind. Von Richten isn't so cute after all. Tell me, have you ever seen a real demon? A strange energy overcomes me. The room seems darker. I feel cold wind, and a dread unlike any I can remember sweeping over me. I look behind me and see the most grotesque thing I've ever seen. A monster pretending to be human. It stares mockingly. It's over 6 feet tall, with leather skin pulled so tight that the stretches of muscular can be seen through its skin. Its teeth are like drill bits. A crown of spikes grow from its skull. Elongated hands end in hooks at the end of its fingertips. The foul beast's eyes are horrible, so deep, dark, greener than any other green. Not portraying rage I'm so familiar with, but instead a malevolent cunning. My heart pounds within me, almost physically jerking me to and fro. I can't breathe. My eyes are locked on it as feelings of fear and rage fill me. It groans, I laugh, joyfully filling my worries, which seemingly bring the creature in erotic ecstasy. It sounds like a wall before me, no larger than an ordinary man, but somehow far more imposing. It is clothed in black scrubs stained with blood. I feel myself sweating, becoming dizzy. I nearly faint from fear before Von Richten speaks again. That is a true demon, she says, calling my attention back to her. His name is England. He is a Batizu from Phagia, the fourth tier of the land you call Hell. I can't seem to understand the words she's saying, but she continues. Blake, are you a saintly man? No, but maybe it's not too late to start. Good, she responds. That saves me the heaven and hell analogy. I get so bored of repeating myself for every zealotous slacker that comes in here. I can move right on to dimensionalism. She looks relieved, but I still don't understand. Earth as we know it is not part of a single universe, but instead part of a multiverse. This one is one of millions of Earths like it, which are connected by both nothing and everything. The power called agency. Agency is the power of free will, which shapes destiny and the world itself. It is the key. Free will is the way. Every move you make, every dirty thought you think, has a tremendous effect on the multiverse. This results in endless worlds, some with only mild changes from this one, such as your favorite cafe changing their prices, but others with changes so significant as man having evolved from avians, or the influence of God being so great that the discovery of electricity becomes as meaningless as the average man's discovery of gluons. The monster England steps up to Miss Von Richten. My vision grows ever foggier. All of a sudden, I can't hear anything. Red takes off her glasses. She's radiant. The room seems brighter as England kisses right passionately. Her suit changes before my eyes. Now, the nightgown, white and translucent. I'm hallucinating. That's the only answer. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel warm. There's something soft beneath me, I discover that I'm sitting on my knees. It isn't England that kissed right. It was me. Yeah, I can get used to this. The office has melted away. We are in a wondrous bedroom with golden sheets. Red is rolling her back up and down my chest, moaning like a dog in heat as she turns and kisses me. I'm not in control of my body. I reach one hand down to her pelvis, squeezing her lovingly. She firmly presses her ass against me, begging for attention. A pair of bright white wings sprout from her back, like the wings of angels in classical art. Her warmth is overwhelming. I feel passion like I haven't felt in so long. I hear the clicking of metal, and suddenly, something wet is in my hands. No, this can't be. I know what I think I'm feeling, but it can't be, at least. I don't want it to be. Right slouches forward, her wings limp. She slowly becomes cold. The room darkens, and my vision blurs in and out as I pull my hand from her body. Knives have grown from my fingertips. I'm covered in blood. The room browns in decay. I feel myself scream, but no sound emerges. What is wrong with me? Blake, I hear her scream. Are you listening to me? It's right, the real right, not my fantasy. My sight clears. I'm standing right where I was before, dazed and confused. Come with me. I'll show you around before your job. But first, let's get you burned. Note added by Archivist Lincoln Gallard. If you are reading this note, that means you are studying from the softcover copy of this document. If you are looking at the timestamps at the bottom of this document, you may have noticed that there is a gap in the stamps. Richard Blake is still under the influences of INT-23. Is suffering from hallucinations. There are several pages of Blake describing his delusions. I have cut around this to the best of my ability, leaving in only as much as is needed to give context to future references. How much time has passed? What happened to me? Is it England? Is that only a taste of what is yet to come? I fear the world I have just entered. Miss Van Richten sticks her hands into her overcoat and draws a weapon. My eyes widen. I hear a click. I feel a sting. I look down to see a dart with 3 needles protruding from my chest. Has this happened before? It seems familiar. My eyes drop. I feel like I'm falling. Mr. Blake. I'm walking. My arm is numb. That voice. It's Van Richten. They say you have a taste for the exotic. This place. Is it below the bastion? It's different. The walls are metal. And so are the floors. There are men in hazard suits all around us. Your brother, his girlfriend, was a licensed succubus. You and he shared her many times during their relationship, Miss Van Richten states, Perka being a twin. Mr. Blake, in my experience, every extraplanar being is a hair away from being a snarling, drooling, bloodthirsty monster. And if you know what is good for you, you would content yourself relationships with your own kind before you become the very monster that you hunt. I don't think they're that bad. In fact, some are really pretty close up. A pair of men struggle with a fox woman. She is athletic looking, with a model's body, large, full breast, sharp curve to her hip, orange-red fur with slightly grayed tips, reddish-brown hair, tied in a ponytail. She has a cluster of tails, maybe 10, and she is dressed in a pair of tight black jean shorts, a tube top, the words porn Q in glitter, an overshirt wrapped around her waist, like a skater might do. She has a California accent, but is yelling like a New Yorker. Miss Von Richten looks to me as she signals me to stand still. "What the hell's going on here?" she demands. One of the men holding the foxwoman says through his helmet, "We found her on Long Beach." The foxwoman struggles furiously, but to no avail. "WTF, mate? This is no way to treat an American citizen. Are you a lawyer? I was sitting on the beach. Someone shot me. Now I'm being dragged into a prison, and no one has read me my rights yet, or even told me why I'm under arrest." One of the men twists her arm. "Silence in the presence of the Honorable Wright von Richten," he says in a stoic tone. "Get the fuck off me!" The foxwoman thrusts her arms back. A wave of fire spits from her fingertips, singeing one of the guard's armor. Sorry. "Shut up." Von Richten barks at her with force. She grabs a report written up by one of the other officers and skims it. "You are an unlicensed nine-tailed Canaan Yugzathoth. And had you been caught in Manchester instead, I would have had your execution warrant signed well before you saw the inside of a prison cell. But due to weak American protocols, I can't sentence you to death without a trial." The fox growls. "Are you some kind of a Nazi? You can't do that." "Take her away," Von Richten yells. The men start moving the fox down the hall. "God damn it," the fox yells. "Get me a phone call. I want Johnny Cochran or Perry Mason. I'll compromise. How about Ingrid Newkirk? The ALF? PETA?" "Sorry about that," Miss Von Richten says as she returns to my side. "Here's your job. We have ID'd a wolfen nest. Go there and kill anything not human. If you get there and find tarnished humans, do them a favor and kill them. If you fail, I'll simply send another agent. So, try not to die on your first day on the job." "Sorry," one of the officers speaks out, "but freaks don't have civil rights." My mouth is dry. I feel numb. Fear is in the air, like it is most every time the dark calls. But something is not the same this time. I can't tell if I'm hunting the monsters today, or if the monsters in the shadow in which I know lay. I feel death all around me, like stinging water. I can't help but wonder, is it coming for me this time, or just passing under my nose, like it was with my brother so few days ago? Tail is pushed into a small room with a mirror wall and a table. Tail looks over the place. "Well, this feels like home." A stocky man stands in the shadows waiting for her behind the door. The man walks in behind her. He sets up a camera, then introduces himself. "The name is Joe Dove." He waves to a chair. "How are the accommodations?" Tail does as she is told. She is accustomed to taking instructions. "Well, the bus ride was okay. The bellhop was pretty, touchy." Tail plays along with the joke. "Haven't seen my room yet. Are you in charge here?" Joe smiles and fiddles with the camera. He fails to give Tail an answer. "I have been told your name is Tail." Tail looks up as Joe seems to be having trouble with getting the camera running. He waves his hand in front of it. What the hell? Joe whispers as he can't seem to get a picture. Tail looks down, then up. Try flipping the red and yellow plugs. Joe nods and follows Tail's recommendation. The camera springs to life. Ha! Thanks. Just got this thing. I'm told it would let me get twice as much work done in a day as I ever could in the past. I'm still trying to figure out how it works. Tail looks at Joe as he's struggling to get the camera running. So, what do you do here? Joe squints as he's looking over the wires to make sure everything's plugged in. What we do and what we are meant to do are two estranged beasts. We are at this time acting as an ununiformed mercenary police force. But this is not the job any of us signed up for. Tail nods. So what are you supposed to be doing here? Funny thing, really, Joe explains. No one seems to remember where we came from or what we were sent here to do. One story said that we were a group organized by Alexander the Great. We were a group of elite men that would ride across the kingdom, finding and protecting art and wisdom. At some point, we became spies, thieves, assassins. Now an invisible army fighting a secret war. He takes a deep breath. Okay, red light is blinking. Let's try this thing out. He turns to look at Tail. Can you please state your name? Tail Vixen. Did you say Vexen? No, Vixen. I was named after Dr. Mercedes Vixen. Joe nods as he takes a seat across from Tail. Where are you from, Tail? New York, Tail explains. Joe folds his hands, thinking. I recall no Kitsune clans licensed to live in New York. Tail rests her head in her hands. I am not a Kitsune. Joe leans in. So what are you? Tail offers a short and elegant explanation. I'm a synthetic person. Joe stands with a hard breath. Do you drink coffee? Joe approaches the door. Tail nods. Joe knocks at the door as he looks over his shoulder. How do you take your coffee? Tail giggles. I like a coffee like my friends, hot and sweetened with a spoon. And cream. Tail tries to continue the joke, but is out of ideas at this point. In short order, Joe provides Tail with a cup of coffee. He sits back down and huffs as he thinks. He wipes his face with a hand before continuing. So, New York. Where in New York could I find synthetic people? Tail answers without a second thought. Cloco International Towers, Cloco R&D, West Wing. I spent most of my time on floor 40. Tail feels no need to hide anything. She is honest and open by nature, possibly to the point of it being a character flaw. Joe takes a sip of his drink, then tips his head, watching Tail. Tail isn't acting like someone with something to hide. As far as Joe can tell, she's telling the truth to the best of her understanding. And is that our New York? Tail asks for clarification. You mean in the U.S.? Yeah, I didn't swim here from London or anything. Joe nods. Of course not. Joe smiles. A slight pinch of anger pulls the back of his neck. How many of you are there, Tail? Synthetics? There is me, so 1. Niall, Jude. That would be 3, I guess. Karen would be 4. Tail counts out her fingers as she makes sure of that. Yeah, 4. Joe offers a puzzled grin. And do you have a family? Mother, father, siblings? No, Mother, I wasn't born, I was constructed. I suppose that would mean that I am sisters with all of the other synthetics. If I had a father, it would have to be Dr. Marks Carrington. Unlike 164th Mercedes also. Her being only one of two girls on the Tail project. Tail starts to ramble off into nothingness. Joe waves. Finish your coffee, Tail. Millie should be here soon to help you your room. I'd head to the library. Joe smiles, her tail's fan in a halo, wagging behind her. Thanks, Joe. Joe walks out of the room. He whispers with someone standing on the hallway. Tail wiggles her ears, trying to hear what they are saying. But Joe must have some idea about Tail's enhanced senses, as he keeps his voice down.